Good Sunday morning and welcome to Taking Care of Business with the Chattanooga Area Chamber of Commerce. I'm Dan Howell here with my co-host Tom Ed Wilson, who is the President and CEO of the Chattanooga Chamber. Good to see you again, Tom Ed.
Thank you, Dan. It's good to be here.
We have a very interesting show today. We've got some real winners with us today, don't we?
Literally. We had our 2012 Spirit of Innovation Awards presented recently, and we have with us today Steve Dunn from the American Bicycle Company, and we have Paul Cummins from Whoople, and I said that right.
Whoople.
Whoople.
Okay, I'll
And
take your word for it.
Then after that, we'll welcome Mike Dunn onto the show to discuss his Spirit of Innovation award-winning company, Sherman & Riley.
Yeah.
So all three of these companies speak to the wonderful entrepreneurialism growing here in Hamilton County.
And they're certainly, all three are having an impact on the local economy.
They certainly
So,
are.
looking forward to talking to them. We'll meet our guests just ahead on Taking Care of Business.
Taking care of business. Taking care of business.
And you're watching Taking Care of Business with the Chattanooga Area Chamber of Commerce, and today we're spotlighting the winners of the 2012 Spirit of Innovation Awards, Tom Ed, and they're an impressive group.
You know, we just got through watching two of the finalists, and they were extremely impressive with their products. Well, now we have on the show right now the company that won.
Ah,
So, and it's represented here by Mike Dunn, who is the CEO of Sherman & Riley. And Mike, we welcome you to our show.
Thank you very much.
We started out with the other two by asking them to explain what their company does, and we'll do the same. Just give our viewing audience a brief thumbnail sketch of what Sherman & Riley is all about.
Sherman & Riley is an engineering and manufacturing company, and we produce equipment that's used to install power lines above ground and below ground. So whether it's power lines to your home or power lines across the countryside, they would use our equipment to install it.
is this what we would commonly call the cherry pickers, those type of things?
No, those are bucket trucks and
Bucket
things
trucks.
like that that
Okay.
get linemen up to the working level.
Okay.
If you think about installing a power line, say over a 3 or 4 mile distance, you have to be able to feed that line up over the poles, pull it at the other end at an appropriate level of tension and force, and then tie it off so that it will hold up to weather and wind and,
Sure.
and those kinds of things. Well, that's it's a heavy process, and it's one that requires some precision. So our equipment is used to basically pull at one end and feed it at the other, and to maintain a very consistent tension in that whole process.
That's amazing.
And as a result, you end up with efficient power lines that hopefully stand up to the test of time.
Is that the Safe Cab Zone system?
Safe Zone Cab
Yeah,
is something that we've introduced to the industry. If you think about linemen, and this is they're really the unsung heroes in the industry today. These are men who, 50,000 of them nationally, who are out in the worst conditions that you can imagine, dealing with live power lines, and unfortunately 50 of them give their lives every year.
Oh my.
Allowing us to make sure the lights are on and
Yeah.
the TVs operate. So the challenge is that how do we make that job safer and more efficient? And in the research that we did in the use of our own products and those of our competitors, we saw that the operators were basically out in the open, in many cases standing on the ground, which if you hit an energized condition will electrocute anybody that's in contact with that equipment. And we said, you know, let's look at industrial accidents as an example. We found that most accidents happen in the later stages of a working shift. Well, the reason it happens is because of fatigue.
Yeah.
So if you take a man who's out there working in the elements, he's put in a 6 or 8 or 10 hour day, he's in a critical job, and maybe it's snowing or raining or something else, he's going to be prone to making a mistake. And so we said, how do we start to minimize that? How do we make the job safer? And as we began to look at companies like John Deere and Komatsu here locally, and Bobcat and others, they've done a world of research on both the comfort and safety of equipment operators and what it means to the ultimate efficiency of the job you're trying to get done. And we learned from that. We've done a number of research projects on our own, and out of that was born the Safe Zone Cab, which is an environmental enclosure in which a lineman can go, can operate the equipment. We've got digital controls, joystick. We've had to upgrade all of the technology to support the job that he's doing, and provide him the visibility in terms of the job that's actually being done from this cab position. So it meant taking a fresh approach to how we design equipment, how we situate the operator, and then the enclosure and all of the support systems that go with that.
When did this innovation begin to come about? Have you been working on this for a number of years, or just in recent years?
About 2 or 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And we introduced our first product about 10 or 11 months ago.
I see.
We've been shipping it ever since, and the reaction to it has been very favorable.
Yeah.
And what we're doing now is beginning to add Safe Zone cabs to some of our legacy equipment and to other new products that we're bringing out both now and throughout the course of next year.
So it's something that could be retrofit to existing equipment?
In some cases we can retrofit, and others we actually have to redesign the platform of the operating unit itself. So we're basically picking it one at a time and doing it in the most efficient way that we can.
So you do contract work primarily for electrical companies?
We don't do any. What we do is we sell to electrical companies. We sell to virtually every major utility in the country. We sell to contractors who will contract to the utilities themselves. So those are our two primary bodies of customer.
All manufactured here?
All manufactured here.
In Chattanooga?
In Chattanooga.
That is amazing. I'm sure that your product would certainly be well used right now on the East Coast, in New Jersey and New York, in the aftermath of Sandy, because those crews are working 15, 16-hour days, I hear.
That's correct.
Wow.
And something you said at our event itself was, and you gave great tribute to the power line operators and their families, being unsung heroes. And you have a program that you have enacted, help their families. Is that right? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I'd be happy to. You know, I'm not a lineman myself, but I've spent my time now in the industry trying to understand their lives, what they're up against, and part of that's the motivation behind the equipment that we're now designing and the kinds of changes we're trying to make. But in the process of this, 50 of them give their lives every year. I never thought about it. I mean, you know, you hear about industrial accidents, you hear about a lineman here or there who unfortunately is hurt or loses his life. But when you then start to put it in the context of 50 lives every year, which means 50 families, and what is the industry doing? Well, the industry has done a lot to try and take care of these folks, but I decided one night that we were going to do something even more special. And I've got a country western singer-songwriter that I've always enjoyed. And I came to work that morning and I asked Samantha, our head of marketing communications, to get a hold of him and say, would he write us a song about linemen? I said, the Glenn Campbell song, it was great back 30 years ago, but let's update it. She contacted him. He agreed to write the song. He agreed to record the song. He went to Sun Studios, where Elvis recorded much of his music, recorded a song, and we now have it up on iTunes.
Oh, it's on iTunes. Okay.
It's on iTunes. I brought you a CD there, but the important thing here is that every penny raised from the sale of this song, and it's by the way, it's 99 cents off of iTunes, but every cent raised is going to 501c3 lineman funds to help both those that have lost their lives and those that have been disabled, to help they and their families.
Fantastic.
And, our job is to try and get 1 million downloads in the next 12 months.
Look for that on iTunes. It's Dale Watson, and Sherman and Riley is the company, and we're out of time, Mike, but I apologize. I'd like to continue, but we run on the clock here. We've been talking to Mike Dunn, CEO of Sherman and Riley Incorporated, the winner of the Spirit of Innovation Award 2012. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Tom Ed and I'll be back to wrap things up in just a moment. Thanks for joining us today on Taking Care of Business with the Chattanooga Area Chamber of Commerce. I'm Dan Howell here with Chamber President Tom Ed Wilson, and today, Tom Ed, we're going to talk to some award winners who took the spotlight literally at the Spirit of Innovation Awards recently.
And they do wonderful work, and we'll get into that. But first, I also want to take a moment to acknowledge another finalist that was in our event that was not able to join us today, and that's Motion View Software. And that's a company that's really revolutionizing the orthodontic industry with its sophisticated 3D scanners and its software. So if anyone is interested in looking up that company, they can find out more about it on our chamber website. And I would encourage them to do that. So now that brings us back to Whipple and to American Bicycle Group. And we have Paul Cummins, the founder of Whipple LLC, and Steve Dunn, who works in international sales for the American Bicycle Company. And the first thing we've got to do is tell our viewing audience about your two companies and what they do. So, Paul, we'll start with you. What exactly is that all about?
Well, Whipple is it's an education tool, and we were looking for a way to deploy our content and be able to provide education to companies all over the globe without having to get on an airplane. And Whipple was kind of born out of frustration because we were on other people's learning management systems, and they were not cost affordable, they were complex, they weren't easy to use, and they weren't efficient. And we decided that we might be able to do that better. And so we went about that, and we launched our product. We started it 30 months ago, launched it 2 years ago, and today over 17,000 small businesses, 2 Fortune 50 companies.
Wow.
Are viewing content and utilizing Whipple in 6 different continents all over the globe today to educate their people, communicate messages, and it's just, it's been a tremendous adventure, and it's been done here.
So you disseminate this product, I guess it is a product.
It's a web-based platform.
Through the web, that was my
Yes.
question, okay.
And it allows people to record their own videos, upload their own content, preview their own content, create their own assessments, build their own tests, monitor their people, see reports in real time, and to do so in an affordable manner where even a small business such as Good Dog or anything like that can afford a full-blown learning management system and communication.
And this has come about in, what'd you say, the last
30 months.
30, less than 3 years. That's some kind of record, I would think.
Well, it's
Tom
been
Ed.
a remarkable story.
Yeah,
We're just excited and hanging
Yeah.
on. You know, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, another remarkable story to me is the American Bicycle Group. Steve, tell us about what your company does.
Yeah, American Bicycle Group was started in Chattanooga over 30 years ago. Actually began as a machine shop and slowly began getting into more exotic materials like titanium. And we still manufacture all of our titanium product here in Chattanooga, sell them all over the world, but we've expanded into carbon fiber frames. And Quintana Roo is another one of our companies, which is specifically focused on triathlon frames and really involved in aerodynamics and the specific needs of triathlons. And again, still manufacturing here and selling our bikes all over the world.
That sounds like the Wright brothers to me. They started with a little bicycle shop, and now look what's flying around the skies. Tell us some of the events where your product has been used. People ride your bikes.
Yeah, going back over the years, we've had bikes in the Tour de France, we've had bikes ridden in World Championship races, we've had world champions on our bikes, we've had U.S. national champions, U.S. time trial champions, women's world champions. So really, all the premier races in the world, our bikes have participated in. And now with the explosion of triathlon, you continue to see our bikes in the U.S. National Championship in Kona, Hawaii. Our bikes were number 7, the seventh most number of bikes on the course that day were Quintana Roo. So yeah, very fortunate to be involved in all these events.
Well, just one quick question before we go back to Paul, but we always gauge Volkswagen. People want to know how many cars are they making now a month out there. So how many bikes are you making a month?
You know, we're probably all total, we're probably going to do around 8,000 bikes. That's going to be between titanium and carbon fiber.
My goodness, so there's quite a market for those,
Wow.
for that product out there. But of course, the name of the award, Tom Ed, was Spirit of Innovation. So let's start with Steve this time. Talk about some of the innovations that qualified you for this award.
Yeah, it was really a unique opportunity in that Jet Propulsion Laboratories, that's associated with NASA, approached us about building the titanium landing arms for the Mars Curiosity rover that's on Mars right now.
Oh.
And we were approached because of our ability to manipulate and work with titanium, which is not an easy material to work with as far as machining, welding, and things like that. So they had approached us because of our innovation on the titanium side, and really presented a unique opportunity. And just through a free exchange of ideas, they selected us to be the company. And we learned a lot, they learned a lot, and really the end result was we got a lot of really good publicity. You know, it's amazing to travel around the world and to have people recognize you not only as a bicycle company, but as the company that made the landing arms. And we really challenged ourselves to say, how can we take this innovation and put that into our titanium Lightspeed bikes?
The Whipple, other than it being a catchy name, and other than you haven't been in business only 30 months, how just tell our audience how, okay, you had an idea, and how'd you get it to the point that it is today in just 30 months?
Well, it's really interesting. We've been in the education business teaching live event seminars for 30 years all over the world, and we had been on other people's technology platforms with great frustration because they weren't easy to use. And so I literally, it's one of those great American success stories. We, middle of the night, 3 a.m., got up and I just started asking questions. And I think all success lies at the end of a better question, if you have the courage to ask it. And I just said, why do you have to leave the player window to see a report? Why do you have to leave the report to navigate content? Why, when you make a video online go full screen, does it pixelize and not look good anymore? And so through doing all of that, I just drew a simple thing on a napkin, and it was player window, navigate content, see a report in the same interface. And then I started asking questions about technology because I didn't know a lot about it. I mean, enter and escape was difficult for me, and because I'm an old school guy. And I found out about a new technology called Ruby on Rails that was created by a company in Chicago by the name of Basecamp. And I decided to go find me a Ruby on Rails developer. And it took me, to be frank with you, it took me 6 months to get in front of some of those kids.
Wow.
They're brilliant. And here's all they said. This was their answer to me. We want to do one thing. We want to build great software. I said, okay, well, so do I. And they said, with enough time and resources, we can build anything. And it didn't matter what I asked them. I said, this is what I want my system to do. They said, we can make that happen.
Wow.
So the innovative I guess, strategy behind Whipple was to make education safe, simple, affordable, fun, and efficient.
Yeah.
And we really drew straight lines around that and said, if the feature's fantastic, but it's complex, we're not going to use it.
Yeah.
If it can't be viewed on the front end in a simple way, we're not going to build it.
Yeah.
If it drives cost up, we're not going to build it. Makes learning dull, we're not going to do it. And it worked.
Well, certainly congratulations to you both, because there's a lot of innovation going on, and this is, I think, just a sample of the entrepreneurial spirit that's going on here in Chattanooga, and has for 100 years or more. And so Paul Cummings of Whipple LLC and Steve Dunn of the American Bicycle Group, congratulations to you both. Thanks for being here today. We'll be back in just a moment with another award winner. And once again, we want to tip our hat to the finalists in the Spirit of Innovation Awards. They're a real testament to Chattanooga's can-do spirit, Tom Ed.
They sure are. We're very blessed to have those companies here.
We certainly are. Before we go, we're about out of time, but there's a big opportunity at the Chamber coming up for those who are interested. Talk about that.
And a very different one. Our first ever business-oriented expedition to Germany for our local business people.
I'm in.
And it's about the culture, and it's about forming business connections there in the future. It should appeal to anyone who wants to do those two things. It's our first international tour. We'll be doing Volkswagen in Wolfsburg and Wacker in Munich.
Oh.
On the screen, I think, is Sandra Brewer's email address, hopefully.
They're going to put it up there, yeah.
Coming up, and you contact her if you want to make a reservation.
And the deadline for
December
reservations,
the 5th.
December the 5th. And so if you're interested in that trip to Germany, it's going to be a great trip. And you're going to get to tour, you said Volkswagen in Wolfsburg, as well as Wacker, which is building a huge complex in Bradley County right now. They're building a city up there, Tom.
I know they are, and that's in Munich. And the high-speed rail, you'll be on the high-speed rail going between the two cities.
Yes. Well, for more information about any of the things going on at the Chamber of Commerce, just call 756-2121 or log on to ChattanoogaChamber.com. Have a great Sunday afternoon.